Hello. I get asked a lot by my Japanese friends, which fortunately I have many of, why are all these international companies entering the Japan power markets? So I thought I'd take a couple of minutes and kind of give you the reasons why many of the companies have done this. First and foremost, it's the market size. Japan's the largest LNG, fourth largest power market in the world. Um, so that's hard to not notice if you're an international company. Secondly, probably most importantly, is once the market started to liberalize, the market rules over time are starting to look a lot more like US, UK, Europe market rules that companies are very familiar with: capacity markets, spot markets, etc. Um, so this is encouraging more and more companies to come to Japan. Third item is probably more around early on. It was the retail companies coming, primarily from the U.S., because they could bring their retail skills that they used for primarily low voltage to Japan on how to acquire customers and how to be efficient and so forth. For some of those US companies in retail, that's worked out well. Others, not so well because they misunderstood how to do business in Japan. And in most cases, against advice, tried to do some of that from the US. And we've always explained if you're going to run a Japanese retail PPS, you need to run it in Japan by Japanese people. That's how we look at things. Uh, but now that things have started to emerge, like spot market volume is way up in JEPIX, the futures market emergence of TOCOM and EEX, that's starting to attract the wholesale trading companies, not just from US, but from Europe and UK, even Australia, and a lot of interest in bringing those companies in because they can bring the skills that they have learning, for trading, hedging, et cetera, risk management. And they view that as a significant competitive advantage compared to most Japanese companies. There's obviously some that are very good at this already, but for the most part, the whole risk management, trading, hedging market is new for Japanese companies, and it takes some time to build up those skills and that know-how. So they see that as a competitive advantage. Um, the third thing we're seeing, or the next thing we're seeing, are with the huge offshore wind appetite that the Japanese have with the government, METI, et cetera. A lot of them, especially European companies, Nordic companies, who've built offshore wind and have that experience, are bringing those skills to Japan. For the most part, partnering up with Japanese companies who have the obviously know-how of the Japan market and how the transmission distribution works, et cetera. Um, the last thing we're seeing, both interest by international technology companies as well as Japanese companies looking for new technologies. Liberalization brings a whole host of new technology requirements, everything from analytics and billing systems and trading systems and meter data. It's just a huge, uh, wide variety, especially as we get into things like blockchain, artificial intelligence, the whole wave of automation. So there's a lot of interest by international companies looking at Japan to expand, and by Japanese companies looking for those existing technologies that could be adapted to work in Japan. So, in a nutshell, there's a lot of reasons international companies are looking at Japan. Our company has personally brought in 16 companies from international, and there's more to come. COVID has obviously slowed that down, but once the COVID gets back to whatever you think normal is, I think you'll see that pace ramp back up because we know there's a number of companies waiting for the ability to travel to Japan. So thanks for listening. Have a great day.